Alright, in this problem we have this funny calculator that has only two keys, and when you turn it on it shows 1, and when you press plus 5 it adds 5, and when you multiply the times 5 key, then it multiplies by 5. So the question is, what is the fewest number of times you must press the keys in order to get 100? Well, one way you could do this is you could draw a tree. You start with 1 and you're either going to add 5, which would give you 6, or you would multiply by 5, which would give you 5. And then for each of those you can either add 5, which would give you 11, or multiply by 5, which would give you 30. And for this one you could add 5, which would give you 10, or you can multiply by 5, which would give you 25, and so on. We could keep doing that. So we could add 5, this would be 16, multiply by 5, that'd be 55. If we add 5, we get 35. If we multiply by 5, we get 150. So that, obviously, this path is out. Let's see, this would give you 15 or 50. This would give you 30 or 125. Okay, so that path is out. So we can keep doing that until we eliminate possibilities. But you can kind of see that some of these you start getting into, well, let's see. We add another 5. Then that would give us, what, 21? If we multiply by 5, let's see, that's 30, that's 80, right? And so on. And so add 5, this gets you 60. Multiply by 5, it's obviously going to be over. Here we get 40, or multiply by 5, and it's obviously going to be over. Here we get 20, or multiply by 5. Let's see, that's 25 plus 75, right? And 55, or what is that, 250, obviously that's out. So you can see pretty quickly, this just takes a little more time, but so this is 35, or this is 150, and that's out. So we could continue in this manner until we get something that adds up to 100, and you could see some of these, it's going to get awfully hard to get to 100. But probably the best way to do this is to work backwards. Okay, that's oftentimes a good strategy for problems, is to think about it backwards. Sometimes that helps. Okay, so let's look at this backwards. We want to get to 100, right? So the quickest way to get to 100 using one of these keys would probably be to use the times 5, right? So if we divide that, we'd have to start at 20, multiply by 5, we get 100. Alright, well, so how could we get to 20? Well, if we multiplied by 5, we'd have to have a 4. And I can't see how you would get a 4 by either adding 5 or multiplying by 5, right? Because you're going to either start with one of those two keys and you're automatically going to be over 4 right away. So it looks like we're going to have to add 5 to get there. So this would be 15. So we have the same problem here as well. If how we would have to have, in order to get this by multiplying by 5, we'd have to start with a 3, and you just can't get to a 3. So so we would have had to add 5 to get there, and so on. Okay, until we get to 5. And if we are starting with 1, the only way to get to 5 is to multiply by 5. Okay, so here we multiplied, here we added, here we added, here we added, and here we multiplied again. Okay? And that is our smallest path. if you do it this way, or you know, you could see by working forward, you know, we might be tempted to start multiplying by 5, and because that's going to get you there the quickest. But you know, here's the path where we multiply by 5. We multiply and multiply, and all of a sudden you're over. So you can see that's not going to work. But when we work backwards, we get this path here, which, if we look at that, we multiplied, add, multiply, so that's 5 keystrokes that we that we did. So the answer is 5.